My daughter-in-law called me, furious. I keyed your entire car to humiliate you, she seethed. I thought the madness had finally consumed her completely. But I replied, honey, I sold that car months ago. It belongs to a retired police colonel now. And in that instant, she was speechless. The phone rang at 3 in the afternoon on a Tuesday I will never forget. It was Ashley, my daughter-in-law, and from the very first second, I knew something terrible had happened, or was about to. Carol, she screamed, her voice dripping with pure venom. I hope you're happy with your miserable life, because I just finished keying your entire car. My heart stopped for a second, not because of the car, but because it confirmed just how far her madness had gone. Yes, you heard me right, she continued. Her laugh was hysterical, sick. I took the keys you left at the house, found your precious silver Nissan in the supermarket parking lot, and I ran my own keys all over it. Hood, doors, trunk, everything is destroyed, covered in deep scratches. Now everyone will see what kind of woman you are. A broke old woman with a ruined car. I took a deep breath, a very deep breath, because what I was about to say would change everything. Ashley, my dear daughter-in-law, my voice came out calm, almost sweet. I have to tell you something important. What? She spat. Are you going to cry? Are you going to beg me for forgiveness for being so nosy? No, sweetie. The thing is, I sold that car 3 months ago. Silence. A silence so heavy I could hear my own heart beating. What? What did you say? Her voice had lost all its fury. Now it sounded small, scared. I sold it in July, Ashley, to a very nice gentleman, a good person. His name is Frank Miller. Do you know who Frank Miller is? No. He's a retired colonel from the state police, 35 years of service. He lives 2 blocks from here. And believe me, sweetie, when I tell you that police colonels don't take it very well when someone destroys their property. The scream Ashley let out was one of pure terror. No. You told me it was your car. You lied to me. I never told you anything, Ashley. You assumed. Just like you've assumed so many things about me, about my life, about my house. I paused. And now, my dear daughter-in-law, you are going to assume the consequences. Carol, please, you have to help me. Tell the colonel it was a mistake. A mistake? You just confessed to me, in great detail, that you did it deliberately to humiliate me. That doesn't sound like a mistake, Ashley. That sounds like premeditated vandalism. I heard the unmistakable sound of sirens through the phone. No, they're coming. Carol, help me. I'm sorry, sweetie. But as you yourself said so many times, you reap what you sow. And I hung up. My hands were trembling. Not from fear, not from regret. They were trembling with something I hadn't felt in a very, very long time. Power. But to understand how we got to this moment, I have to tell you the whole story. 3.5 years ago, my son Brian came home with his eyes shining with excitement. Mom, I met someone special. Brian is my only son, my treasure. Ever since I lost my husband 8 years ago in that terrible accident, Brian and I had become inseparable. He took care of me, I took care of him. We had dinner together every Sunday, watched movies, told each other about our days. He was my whole world. Then came Ashley Thompson. The first time I saw her, I understood why my son was in love. She was beautiful, long, caramel-colored hair, green eyes, a perfect smile. She worked as a publicist at a marketing agency. She came from a good family, she said. Her dad owned an import business. Mrs. Harris, she said with a sweet voice during that first dinner. Brian has told me so much about you. He says you're the best mother in the world. I melted. What mother wouldn't? The first few months were wonderful. Ashley would come to the house, help me cook, bring me flowers, and call me Mama Carol affectionately. We made plans for the wedding, for the future, for grandchildren. I was happy. My son had found love. What a fool I was. The wedding was in December 3 years ago. A beautiful ceremony at a venue called the Rose Garden. 150 guests. Ashley's imported dress cost $5,000. The full catering was $10,000. The live music was $3,000. The decorations were $1,500. Brian had saved up $8,000. I put in the remaining $11,500. Mom, you don't have to do this. Brian told me with tears in his eyes. Sweetheart, it's your wedding. You only get married once. I want it to be perfect. I took that money from my life savings. 35 years working as an elementary school teacher. Every dollar counted. Every dollar earned with effort. But it was for my son's happiness. It was worth it. Or was it? The first red flag appeared during the honeymoon. They went to Cancun for 2 weeks. When they returned, they came over for dinner, just as we always did on Sundays. Ashley looked around my living room with a strange expression. Mama Carol, she said with a little smile, have you ever thought about remodeling? This house is so vintage. Vintage. That was the word she used to say, old. The house has its charm, I replied, trying to sound casual. My husband and I bought it 40 years ago. It holds a lot of memories. Of course, she said, but her tone, there was something in her tone. It's just that Brian and I were thinking, when we have kids, we'll need more space. Right, honey? Brian nodded, but he looked uncomfortable. Well, the house has 4 bedrooms, I answered. There's plenty of space. Uh-huh, Ashley bit her lip. But 4 bedrooms for 5 people, you, us, and the kids. It's a bit tight, isn't it? 5 people. She was already planning to live in my house. Ashley, Brian, I said calmly, you have your own apartment. It's comfortable. It's in a good neighborhood. As we're bold. It's just a bit far from my job, Ashley interrupted. And the traffic is horrible. Brian comes home exhausted every day. It's only 40 minutes, Brian said. 40 minutes in the morning, 40 in the evening. That's more than an hour a day wasted, honey. Ashley touched his hand. If we lived closer to downtown, like here, we could have a better quality of life. That's when I understood. She wanted my house. We'll see, I said, closing the topic. For now, enjoy your apartment. You're newlyweds. You need your privacy. Ashley's smile froze for a microsecond, but she quickly recovered it. You're right, Mama Carol. I was just thinking about the future. The future. She was always talking about the future. Her future. In my house. The next 6 months were the beginning of my nightmare. Sunday dinners became tense. Ashley started showing up late. We just had so much work, she'd say, or we lost track of time at my parents' house. When she did come, she spent the whole time on her phone. Ashley, are you joining us? I'd ask as I set the table. Oh, Mama Carol, I just have to answer some important emails. She wouldn't even look up. Brian started to change, too. He used to call me every day. Now, 3-4 days would go by without hearing from him. Honey, are you okay? You haven't called? Sorry, Mom. I've just been really busy. Busy? Or Ashley has you busy? I asked, half joking. Mom, his tone was a warning. Don't start. Don't start? Me? But I said nothing. I didn't want to be the toxic mother-in-law, the meddling one. Then the comments began. Mama Carol, don't you think this living room is a bit crowded? So much antique furniture. It makes it look smaller. Mom, why do you have so many pictures on the walls? It's like a museum. Mom, those curtains are so out of style. How old are they? 20 years? Every visit brought a new comment about my house, my things, my life. One day, they showed up unannounced. I was in my pajamas, watching my 3 o'clock soap opera. Surprise! Brian shouted, letting himself in with his key. Oh, honey, you should have called, I said, fixing my hair. Ashley walked in behind him, wrinkling her nose. Mom, do you have to watch the TV so loud? You can hear it from the street. I'm alone, Ashley. I'm not bothering anyone. Yes, but the neighbors. She made a vague gesture. Anyway, we came because we want to talk to you. They sat on the couch, both of them, facing me, as if it were an intervention. Mom, Brian began. Ashley and I have been thinking about our future, she completed, taking his hand. Here it comes, I thought. Here comes the bombshell. We want to have kids soon, Brian said, and our apartment is small. And you live all alone in this huge house, Ashley added with that fake smile. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a yard, for just one person. It's my house, I said with more firmness than I felt. We know, Mom. No one is saying otherwise. Brian looked nervous. But we thought, What would you think if we moved in here? The three of us? Well, soon to be 4 or 5 when the babies arrive. My stomach tightened. Brian, this is my house, my space. You'd be helping your son, Ashley interrupted. Don't you want your son to have a better life? Don't you want to meet your grandchildren and watch them grow up near you? The manipulation was so obvious it hurt. Of course I want to meet my grandchildren, but you have your own home. A tiny, uncomfortable home, far from everything. Ashley raised her voice. While you have all this wasted space. Ashley, I warned. This is my house. I bought it with my husband. I raised my son here. It's not wasted space. It's my life. Mom, nobody is kicking you out, Brian said quickly. We just thought we could share. Share? Share my house? You could keep the master bedroom, Ashley offered, as if she were doing me a favor. We would take the other 2 for us and the baby. And the 4th can be an office. How generous of you, Ashley, to let me keep my own room in my own house. It doesn't have to be like this, Mom. Brian looked desperate. You just wanted to propose it. Well, you've proposed it, and my answer is no. Ashley shot up from the couch. You know what? You're selfish. A selfish old woman who would rather be alone in her big house than help her own son. Ashley! Brian yelled. But she was already gone, slamming the door so hard it made the pictures on the wall tremble. Brian looked at me with pleading eyes. Mom, please. Brian, if you want a bigger house, find one. Save up, get a loan. But this house is mine, and as long as I live, it will continue to be mine. My son left without another word, and I was left alone, trembling, feeling like I had just lost something precious. I didn't know that was only the beginning. 2 months after that conversation, things got worse. Brian barely spoke to me. When he did, he was sharp, distant. My loving son had become a stranger, and Ashley? She looked at me with pure hatred every time we saw each other. One Saturday, I went out early to the farmer's market. I needed to do my weekly shopping. Vegetables, fruit, chicken. The Saturday market is my ritual. I get there at 7 in the morning, when everything is fresh. I got home around 11, with my heavy bags, tired but happy. And then I saw the cars parked in front of my house. 5, 6 cars, unfamiliar. Music blaring from my living room. Voices, laughter. I opened the door, my heart racing. My living room was full of people I didn't know. 25, 30 people. Young people dressed in smart casual clothes with wine glasses in their hands. Electronic music playing from my speaker. Golden balloons that said 30 hanging from my lamp. What? A bag of groceries slipped from my hand. Ashley appeared from the kitchen with a tray of canapes. Oh, you're here, she said with a huge smile. Everyone, this is Carol, the tenant who still lives here. Tenant? She called me a tenant in my own house? The laughter died down. Everyone looked at me. A blonde woman in a tight dress looked me up and down. Oh, you seriously still have tenants, Ash? How awkward. I know. Ashley put on a suffering face. But it's complicated. You know, old people with nowhere else to go. Old people with nowhere else to go. Old people with nowhere else to go. Ashley! My voice came out trembling with pure rage. What is going on here? Oh, it's Brian's birthday, 30 years old. I organized a surprise party. She made a grand gesture. Isn't it beautiful? I hired a caterer, decorations. In my house, without telling me, without asking my permission. Well, Brian has a key, she said, shrugging. I didn't think it would be a problem. After all, you said this house is also Brian's, right? The perfect trap. If I complained, I'd look like the selfish mother who didn't want to celebrate her son's birthday. Brian came out of the bathroom just then. Mom, he looked surprised. I didn't know. No one told me, I said, looking straight at him. No one asked my permission to invade my house. It's not an invasion, Mom. It's a party. For me, your son. In my living room, with people I don't know, moving my things, using my kitchen. Oh, lady, don't be so dramatic. One of Ashley's friends, the blonde in the dress, chimed in. It's just a party, a few hours. The house isn't going to fall down. The nervous giggles from the guests burned me like acid. "Excuse me," I said with all the dignity I could muster. "I need to put my groceries away." I walked to the kitchen. My kitchen was destroyed. Dirty dishes everywhere, open wine bottles, empty pizza boxes, the sink overflowing. And the worst part, my good china, the set my mother gave me, the one I only use on special occasions, was being used to serve snacks. "Be careful with that plate," I said to a young man who was serving himself chips on my grandmother's porcelain plate. "Relax, Grandma," he said, laughing. "I'm not going to break your antique." "Grandma." He called me Grandma. A stranger. In my house. Ashley came into the kitchen. "Carol, can you put your bags in your room? They're kind of in the way." "In the way? My groceries are in the way in my own kitchen?" "Ashley, I need everyone to leave." "What?" "No, the party is just getting started." "You didn't ask my permission. This is my house and I want them to leave." "Mama Carol." Her voice turned sweet, manipulative. "It's Brian's birthday. Your only son. Are you really going to ruin it because of your selfishness?" "It's not selfishness to defend my space." "You know what?" Ashley came closer, lowering her voice so only I could hear. "You're a bitter, bitter old woman who can't stand to see her son happy. You cling to this house as if it's the only thing you have, because it is the only thing you have. You have no life, no friends. You have nothing but this old furniture and your pathetic memories." Each word was a stab. "And let me tell you something else," she continued, her green eyes shining with malice. "Sooner or later, this house will be Brian's, and when it is, the first thing I'm going to do is throw out all this vintage trash and remodel everything. And you will be in a nursing home, where you should have been a long time ago." I stood frozen, not from shock, not from fear, but because in that moment something inside me broke, or rather, something inside me woke up. "You know, Ashley," I said with a calm that surprised even me. "You're right." She blinked, confused. "What?" "You're right. I'm an old woman clinging to her things. You're right. This house will be Brian's one day. You're right about everything." I smiled. A small, quiet smile. "Enjoy your party." And I went to my room. I closed the door. And for the first time in months, I didn't cry. Because I had cried enough. Now, it was time to act. That night, after everyone had left, leaving my house in a mess that I had to clean up, I made a decision. I needed to know who I was really dealing with. On Monday morning, I called Sharon. Sharon lives in the house on the corner. She's 72 years old and is what Ashley would call nosy, but I call it attentive and observant. "Carol," she said when she arrived for coffee, "I knew sooner or later you'd come to talk to me. Sharon, I need you to tell me everything you've seen." And boy, had she seen things. "2 weeks ago," she began, "I saw your daughter-in-law leaving your house. I thought you had been there, but when I passed by later, your car was gone." She came out alone, with papers in her hand. "Papers?" "Yes, and the next day I saw her meeting a man at the coffee shop on the corner, a man in a suit. They talked for about 2 hours. My stomach clenched. What did the man look like? Clean-shaven, gray suit, briefcase, looked like a lawyer. A lawyer. Sharon, have you seen her do anything else strange?" "Well," she hesitated, "I don't want to stick my nose where it doesn't belong, but 3 days ago I saw her taking pictures of your house. From the outside, from the inside, when you left the window open. With her cell phone. Like she was cataloging everything. Cataloging." My hands trembled around the coffee cup. "Sharon, would you do me a favor? If you see her doing anything weird again, will you let me know?" "Of course, Carol. I know that girl is up to something." When Sharon left, I called my dear friend Linda. Linda and I were teachers together for 20 years. Now she's an estate planning lawyer, and if anyone could help me understand what Ashley was plotting, it was her. "Linda," I said when we met that afternoon in her office, "I need you to tell me something with total honesty. If someone wanted to take my house from me, how would they do it?" Linda looked at me seriously. "What's going on, Carol?" I told her everything. The party, the comments, the unannounced visits, the lawyer, Carol. Linda sighed. "There are several ways. The most common is to have you declared legally incompetent. What is that? It's when they declare a person incapable of managing their own affairs. Due to dementia, mental illness, senility. If you're declared incompetent, you lose all your legal rights, and a family member can get power over your assets. The coffee I had drunk wanted to come back up. Can they just do that? No, they need proof, medical reports, testimonies, psychiatric evaluations. But she took my hand. If someone is determined and has resources, they can build a convincing case. Linda, can you investigate something for me? In your network of lawyers, has anyone inquired about my property? Has anyone tried to get copies of the deed? That's confidential, Carol, but let me make a few calls. 2 days later, Linda called me urgently. Carol, you need to come to my office. Now. When I arrived, she had a file folder in front of her. Carol, sit down. I sat, my heart pounding like a drum. 3 weeks ago, someone tried to get a certified copy of your house deed using a power of attorney. What? A power of attorney supposedly signed by you, giving full authority over your assets to Brian Harris. My son. My own son. But I never signed that. I know that's why it was rejected. The signature didn't match the one we have on file. It was an attempted forgery. The room began to spin. Who? Who submitted that document? Linda pulled out a sheet of paper. Ashley Harris, your daughter-in-law. There it was. The confirmation. The proof. Ashley didn't just want my house, she was willing to steal it. Carol, there's more. Linda pulled out another sheet. I did more research. Ashley has debts. A lot of debts. Credit cards, $28,000. A personal loan, $15,000. Another loan for the car, $19,000. $62,000 in debt. She and Brian are drowning financially. Their apartment is at risk of foreclosure. And, Carol, Linda looked me straight in the eye. Your house is worth approximately $450,000, according to the current property assessment. $450,000, enough to pay off all their debts and live comfortably. It all made sense now. The rush to move in, the pressure, the manipulation. It wasn't family love. It wasn't concern for my loneliness. It was pure greed. Linda, what do I do? First, secure your assets, make a clear will, put legal safeguards on your property. Second? She hesitated. Second, be very careful. If they've already tried to forge your signature once, they'll try again. I didn't sleep that night because I realized something terrible. My son was married to a criminal, and she wouldn't stop until she got what she wanted. But I wouldn't stop either, because nobody was going to take the fruit of 35 years of honest work from me. Things escalated 2 weeks after my conversation with Linda. Brian showed up at my house on a Tuesday afternoon without Ashley, alone. Mom, we need to talk. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes, thinner than before. Of course, honey. Do you want some coffee? No, Mom. Sit down, please. We sat in the living room, he in the armchair. I in my usual spot, the sofa where his dad and I used to watch movies. Mom, he began, not looking me in the eye. Ashley and I are worried about you. Worried? Yes, we've noticed. Changes. What kind of changes? Well, he rubbed his face. The other day we came by and you left the stove on. Do you remember? I blinked. Stove on? I never leave the stove on. Brian, I didn't. And last week, when I called you, you told me you were going to the supermarket. I called you again 2 hours later, and you told me you were going to the supermarket. As if you didn't remember our conversation. Honey, that's not true. Mom, he interrupted me. We've also noticed that you repeat the same stories. Over and over. The same anecdotes about Dad. About your job. It's normal to remember. And you forgot my birthday. I had to remind you. That was a lie. I never forget my son's birthday. March 23rd. I would never forget it. Brian, what is going on here? Mom. He finally looked at me and his eyes were wet. Ashley and I think you need to see a doctor. A specialist. My blood ran cold. A specialist? A geriatrician. To evaluate your memory, your cognition. There it was, Ashley's plan. To declare me senile, incompetent, incapable. I don't need any geriatrician, Brian. I'm perfectly fine. Mom, what you're saying confirms the problem. People with cognitive decline don't realize they're declining. Memorized words. Brian, I said with all the calm I could muster. Look me in the eyes. He did uncomfortably. Do you really think I'm losing my mind? You? My son who has known me for 30 years? Mom, it's just… Or is it Ashley who is putting these ideas in your head? Not everything is Ashley's fault, he exploded. Why is everything always her fault? She just wants to help. Help? By calling me a tenant in my own house? By throwing parties without my permission? By telling me I should be in a nursing home? She never said that. She did, Brian. In my kitchen, on your birthday. She said it right to my face. You're exaggerating, Mom. Misinterpreting things. See? That's also a sign of… Of what, Brian? Of dementia? Is that what you're going to say? He fell silent. Look, Mom, we already made an appointment. With Dr. Evans. He's the best geriatrician in the city. Very prestigious. I'm not going. Mom, I said I'm not going. I don't need any doctor to evaluate me because I'm not sick. If you're not sick, then there's no problem with him evaluating you, right? The perfect trap. If I refused, it confirmed I had something to hide. If I went, I was putting myself in their hands. Brian, listen to me carefully. I raised you, I fed you, I clothed you, I educated you, I paid for your college. I supported you in every decision. And now you're doing this to me? Mom, I'm doing it because I love you, because I'm worried about you. No, you're doing it because your wife is manipulating you, because she wants this house, because you have debts, and you see my property as the solution to your problems. Brian turned pale. How? How do you know that? So, it's true? You have debts? Everyone has debts, Mom. It's normal. $62,000 is not normal debt, Brian. Are you investigating us? I'm protecting myself, which is different. Brian stood up, furious. You know what? Ashley was right. You're paranoid. You see conspiracies where there are none. You've become a bitter, distrustful person. I've become a person who opens her eyes. We'll see you on Thursday at 4 at Dr. Evans's office. I hope you go, for your own good. And he left. I sat there, trembling, but not with fear, with determination. Because if they wanted to play dirty, I would play smarter. Thursday arrived. I decided to go to the appointment, but not alone. I called my niece Megan, my sister's daughter. Megan is a lawyer, young, smart, fierce. Aunt Carol, this is serious, she said when I told her everything. If this Dr. Evans is on their payroll, he can fabricate a diagnosis. End of quote. That's why I need you to come with me, as a witness. We arrived at the office. Brian and Ashley were already there. Mom, you came. Brian seemed relieved. Then he saw Megan. What is she doing here? I'm her legal counsel, Megan said with a firm voice, and I have the right to be present during any medical evaluation. Ashley paled. That's not necessary. It's completely necessary, Megan interrupted. In fact, I insist. The consultation was a farce. Dr. Evans, a man in his 50s with the smile of a used car salesman, asked me basic questions. What day is it today? Thursday, September 15th. Who is the president? I answered correctly. Can you count down from 100 by sevens? 93, 80, 6, 79, 72, 65, all perfect. But then came the loaded questions. Mrs. Harris, do you feel lonely in your house? Sometimes. It's natural after losing my husband. I won. Have you thought about selling the property? Moving to a smaller, more manageable place? There it was, the hidden agenda. No, my house is perfectly manageable. But a large property requires maintenance, expenses, at your age. Doctor, Megan interrupted, are these questions part of a standard cognitive assessment? The doctor shifted uncomfortably. I'm evaluating the patient's ability to make decisions about her life. She just demonstrated perfect memory, temporal and spatial orientation, and mathematical ability. What exactly is your medical concern? Well, the family reports episodes of confusion. What episodes specifically? With dates, witnesses? Ashley chimed in. She left the stove on, forgot conversations, repeats stories. Did you witness these events directly? Megan asked. Well, Brian told me. Then it's hearsay, not medical evidence. Dr. Evans closed his notebook. Look, based on this evaluation, I see no obvious signs of cognitive decline. However, what? I pressed. I would recommend a more in-depth evaluation, an MRI, full neuropsychological tests. This could take several weeks. And in the meantime? Ashley asked eagerly. While we wait for the results? In the meantime, it would be prudent for Mrs. Harris to consider signing a preemptive power of attorney, just as a precaution, so that if she were to need help, she would already have everything in order. There it was, the real goal. The power of attorney. I'm not signing anything, I said, standing up. This consultation is over. Mom, Brian stood up. The doctor is trying to help you. No, honey, the doctor is trying to help you, and I'm not going to allow it. Mrs. Harris, the doctor used his most condescending voice. I understand it's difficult to accept that you need help. It's part of the process. Denial is common in patients with... Be careful what you're about to say, doctor, Megan warned, because if you issue a diagnosis without solid medical proof, I can sue you for malpractice. The doctor paled. I'm not diagnosing anything, just recommending. Your recommendations are noted and will be part of the legal record if this escalates. We left the office. Brian caught up with me in the parking lot. Mom, why are you making this so difficult? Difficult? I'm making it difficult? I looked him straight in the eye. Brian, that doctor wanted me to sign a power of attorney so you could control my assets. Don't you realize what's happening? What's happening is that you need help and you're too stubborn to accept it. What's happening, I said with a broken voice, is that your wife has you so manipulated that you no longer recognize your own mother. Stop it, he shouted. Stop blaming Ashley for everything. I'm sick of it. You know what? If you don't want our help, fine. Take care of yourself, like you've always wanted. And he left. Megan hugged me as I cried in the parking lot. Aunt Carol, this is going to get worse before it gets better. I know. You need to protect yourself. Legally, financially, emotionally. Tell me what to do. And Megan, bless her heart, gave me the plan. That night, in my empty, silent house, I made the most important decision of my life. I would not be a victim. I called Megan. Aunt Carol, are you sure? Once we start this, there's no going back. I'm sure. Tell me what I have to do. For the next 2 weeks, I executed my plan with military precision. Step 1. Secure my assets. The first thing was the car. My 2018 silver Nissan Sentra with 87,000 miles on it. I had cared for it like gold. It was worth about $14,000 according to the sales websites. I posted the ad on a Wednesday. By Friday, I had 5 interested buyers. One of them was Mr. Frank Miller. He arrived promptly at 10 in the morning. A man in his 60s, straight back, firm gaze. 35 years in the state police, retired colonel. Mrs. Harris, he said after inspecting the car, it's in excellent condition. I'll offer you $13,500. I have the money in the bank. We can go right now, do the transfer at the bank, and in 2 hours the car is mine. Mr. Miller, can I ask you something personal? Of course. If someone were to damage this car, say, key it completely, what would you do? He looked at me with those police eyes that have seen it all. Ma'am, I'm a retired colonel. I have contacts throughout the state and municipal police. If someone damages my property, I file a report immediately. And believe me, when a retired officer of my rank files a report, the matter gets investigated. Why do you ask? Just curious. He smiled. He didn't believe me, but it didn't matter. Deal? Deal. That afternoon, $13,500 in cash was deposited into my new bank account, an account that neither Brian nor Ashley knew about. Step 2. Move my savings. I had $59,000 in my lifelong account. The account where Brian was listed as the beneficiary. The account whose bank statements were mailed to my house, where Ashley had a key. Megan helped me open a new account at another bank. Digital. No paper statements. With two-factor authentication, I transferred everything. Every penny. Plus the $13,500 from the car. Total in the new account. $2,500. In the old account, I left $250. Enough for it to look like it was still active, but not enough to be worth stealing. Step 3. Armor my house. With Linda, my lawyer friend, I made several legal moves. First, a new will. Crystal clear. The house to Brian, but only after my death. And with a clause. If he tried to take it from me before then, the inheritance would be voided and the property donated to a children's foundation. Second, a life estate deed. This meant that although the house would eventually be Brian's, I had the right to live in it until my death. No one could kick me out. Third, a revocable power of attorney only to Megan. If anything happened to me, she would decide on my medical and financial affairs, not Brian, not Ashley. Aunt Carol, Megan told me, this is going to infuriate them when they find out. I know, but it's my protection. Step 4. Surveillance. Here came the tricky part. I called my nephew Kevin. He's an IT security technician. I explained the situation. Aunt Carol, what you're asking me to do is, well, it's intense. I know, but I need proof, evidence of what they're planning. Are you sure? Once you see what they're saying, you can't unhear it. I'm sure. Kevin installed 4 hidden cameras in my house, one in the living room, inside a wall clock, one in the kitchen, inside the microwave I no longer used, one in the entryway, inside a picture frame, one in the hallway, inside the smoke detector, all connected to an app on my phone. I could see and hear everything in real time, and everything was recorded to the cloud. Auntie, this is legal because it's your house, but be careful what you do with the recordings. I'll only use them if it's absolutely necessary. I gave a copy of the house keys to Ashley 2 days later. Ashley, I said over the phone, sweet as honey, I've been thinking, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm being too closed off. Here, keep this copy of the keys. In case you need anything from the house when I'm not here. Silence on the other end. Really, Mama Carol? Really. We're family, aren't we? Wow, I don't know what to say. Thank you. You're welcome, honey. I hung up and smiled, because now, every time she entered my house without my permission, I would know, I would see it, I would record it. Step 5. The performance. The hardest part. Faking it. Faking that I was defeated. Faking that I was confused. Faking that I was weak. I started calling Brian with silly questions. Honey, what day do the pension checks come? Mom, the 28th of every month, like always. Oh, right, I forgot. I hadn't forgotten, but I needed him to believe I had. I asked for help with simple things. Brian, can you come help me with the washing machine? I don't understand the new buttons. It was the same 5-year-old washing machine. I knew perfectly well how to use it. I started repeating stories at dinner. Did I tell you about the time your dad and I went to Florida? Yes, Mom. 3 times. Really? Oh, forgive me. I saw the look he exchanged with Ashley. That look of, see? I told you so. Perfect. I, accidentally, let something burn on the stove. Nothing dangerous, just a little rice. Mom, you left the stove on. Really? Oh my goodness, what is wrong with my head? More meaningful glances. For 2 weeks, I gave them exactly what they wanted. An elderly, confused woman who was losing her faculties. And all the while, I watched. The recordings were pure gold. Recording from September 18th, 3:47 in the afternoon. Ashley and Brian in my living room. I was supposedly out at a doctor's appointment. Ashley, did you see how she forgot she'd already told us that story? It's the 3rd time this week. Brian, yeah, she's getting worse. Ashley, exactly. That's why we have to move fast. Before she does something crazy, like donate the house to a church or something. Brian, she wouldn't do that. My mom, Ashley, Your mom is senile, Brian. How much more proof do you need? She already tried to refuse Dr. Evans. Thank God she didn't sign anything that day, or we would have lost our chance. Brian, our chance for what? Ashley, to protect her. To protect her assets, which is your inheritance, which is our future. Brian. Ashley. What? Are you going to tell me we don't need the money? Brian, we owe $62,000. $62,000. The bank has already threatened to sue us. Our apartment is at risk. And your mom has a $450,000 house all to herself? Does that seem fair to you? Brian, it's not about fairness, it's her house. Ashley, and it will be yours soon. It's your natural inheritance. We're just speeding up the process. For everyone's good, including hers. Because if she completely loses her mind and ends up in a home, who do you think is going to pay for it? We are. With money we don't have. It's better if she sells the house now, while she can, moves to a place that's suitable for her age, and we use the money to pay off our debts and secure our children's future. Brian, we don't have children yet. Ashley, because we can't afford them, Brian. That's my point. Everything would change if… Brian, if my mom wasn't in the house. Ashley, exactly. Look, I care about her. I really do. But it's time for her to accept reality. It's time for all of us to accept reality. Long pause. Brian, what are you proposing? Ashley, Dr. Evans can do a more aggressive evaluation. With the right results, we can file for a conservatorship, get full legal power, and then decide what's best for her. Medicaid covers decent nursing homes. She would be well taken care of. And we, Brian. And we get the house. Ashley, it's your inheritance, honey. We're just claiming it a little early. When I watched that recording, I cried, not from sadness, from fury, but also from relief. Because now, I had proof. Proof of the manipulation, proof of the conspiracy, proof of everything, and I was ready for the next step. Step 6, the final move. I contacted Frank Miller, the colonel who bought my car. Mr. Miller, I need to ask you a huge favor. Tell me, Mrs. Harris. I told him everything. The situation with my daughter-in-law, the manipulation, and my plan. You bought that car from me 2 weeks ago, I said. But Ashley doesn't know that. She still thinks it's mine. And I have reason to believe she's going to do something about it. Frank listened attentively. What do you need from me? That when she damages the car, you file a full police report, with the full weight of your position, that you make her face the consequences. Ma'am, he said with a predator's smile, it would be my pleasure. There's one more thing. I need her to confess, to say exactly why she did it, and I need to record it. Are you planning to provoke her? Yes. I like the way you think, Mrs. Harris. Count on me. For the next week, I played my best part. I was depressed, confused, weak. I told Brian I wasn't feeling well. Maybe you're right, honey. Maybe I do need help. His eyes lit up. Really, Mom? Really? I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of everything. I told Ashley I was considering her suggestions about moving to a smaller, more manageable place. Oh, Mama Carol, I'm so glad you're coming to your senses. And then, on Thursday, September 22nd, I left my car keys on the kitchen table where Ashley could see them. And I left the house. But I didn't go far. I parked 2 blocks away with a view of the supermarket parking lot where Frank had left the car. And I waited. At 3:15 in the afternoon, I saw Ashley's car pull in. I saw her park far from the Nissan. I saw her walk towards it, looking around to make sure no one was watching. I saw her take out her keys, and I saw her key the entire car. Hood, doors, trunk, viciously, with rage, with a smile on her face. I took pictures of everything with my phone. When she finished, I watched her get back in her car and drive away, laughing. I waited 5 minutes. Then I called Frank. It's done. Excellent. I'm on my way. With patrol cars. And then I dialed Ashley's number. And the conversation that would change everything began. The phone rang 3 times before she answered. Hello? Her voice sounded cheerful, satisfied. Ashley, it's me. Oh, Mama Carol, what's up? Are you done with the doctor? I didn't go to the doctor, Ashley. Pause. You didn't? Why not? Because I had other things to do. Important things. Oh, well, what do you need? I don't need anything, honey. I was just calling to tell you about something funny that just happened. What's that? Her voice now had a hint of caution. Well, you see, Colonel Frank Miller just called me. You remember him, right? The man who bought my car 2 months ago. Absolute silence. Ashley, are you still there? What did you say? Colonel Miller, the owner of the silver Nissan. But that's your car. It was my car, honey. I sold it in July. Didn't I tell you? No, you didn't tell me. Her voice began to tremble. Oh, that's strange. I thought I did. Well, anyway, Mr. Miller just called me. Very upset. It seems someone completely keyed his car. The whole thing. The poor man is devastated. I didn't. And the funny thing, Ashley, is that he asked me if I knew who might have done something like that. Because apparently someone saw the incident. One of the supermarket's security cameras caught the whole thing. A lie. There were no cameras. But she didn't know that. Carol! The scream was pure terror. You told me it was your car. I never told you anything, Ashley. In fact, we haven't talked about the car in weeks. But the keys. You left them on the table. Oh yes, the keys to my new house. The ones I got from the locksmith to make copies. Another lie, but a perfect one. No, 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 no. Her voice rose, hysterical. This can't be happening. Ashley, you just confessed to keying the car. You set me up. A trap? Honey, I didn't force you to key any car. That was your decision, your choice. I did it to humiliate you, to teach you your place, so you'd understand that you can't keep ruining life for Brian and me. Bingo. Full confession, recorded on my phone. Ashley, do you understand what you just said? You just confessed to premeditated vandalism. I don't care. You deserve it. Selfish, broke old woman, a burden. You should be in a nursing home. You should be dead. Those last words hit me like a punch, but they didn't hurt anymore, because the mask had finally fallen completely. Wow, I said calmly. How interesting that you say that. Because Frank Miller is at the supermarket right now with 3 patrol cars, filing a formal complaint. What? Yes, honey. Damage to private property. Vandalism. And when a retired state police colonel files a complaint, things get investigated very, very thoroughly. Carol, you have to help me. And help you? After what you just said? After wishing me dead? I didn't mean it. I was angry. Carol, please. In the background, I heard the sirens getting closer to where she was. Ashley, where are you now? I'm home. I just got here. Why? At your house? In the apartment? Yes. Perfect. Because Mr. Miller gave the police your description. 28-year-old woman, long brown hair, blue dress, driving a red Mazda. Your red Mazda, Ashley? A scream of pure panic. No, they're here. They're knocking on my door. Then I suggest you open it. Resisting only makes things worse. Carol, I hate you. I hate you. You ruined everything. Everything. No, honey, you ruined everything. I just protected what was mine. Ma'am, open the door. I heard the authoritative voice of a police officer in the background. Just a moment, Ashley yelled. Then to me in a pleading voice. Mama Carol, please. Talk to them. Tell them it was a mistake. That I thought it was your car. That it was a misunderstanding. Please. Ashley, how many times did you ask me to leave my own house? I never. How many times did you humiliate me? Called me old? Treated me like trash? How many times did you plan to rob me? To declare me senile? To put me in a home? Silence. I know everything, Ashley. Everything. I have recordings. I have proof. I know about the debts. I know about the attempt to forge my signature. I know about your conversations with Brian, planning how to take my house. You're lying. September 18th, 3:47 in the afternoon. My living room. You and Brian. Direct, quote, "It's your inheritance, honey. We're just claiming it a little early. Should I continue?" The silence was devastating. How? Because I'm not the senile old woman you thought I was. Because you underestimated the wrong person. Open the door now, or we're breaking it down. The officer's shout was louder now. I have to go, I said calmly. The officers are waiting for you. Oh, and Ashley, one more thing. What? Her voice was barely a defeated whisper. The car you keyed is worth $14,000. The damage you did will probably cost between $3,000 and $4,000 to repair. That's a felony. Not a simple misdemeanor. A felony. With possible jail time. No, it can't be. And Frank Miller isn't just some guy. He's a retired colonel with contacts all over the state police. He is not going to let this go. Mama Carol, please. I'm sorry, Ashley, but as you told me so many times yourself, you reap what you sow. And I hung up. My hands were shaking violently. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. But for the first time in months, I felt powerful. I felt free. I drove straight home. I needed to be in my space, on my turf. When I arrived, I poured myself a glass of water and sat in my favorite armchair. The phone started ringing. Brian, 1 call. 2, 3, 4. I didn't answer. Then the text started coming. Brian, Mom, what did you do? Brian, the police arrested Ashley. Brian, they say she keyed a car. Brian, your car? Brian, Mom, answer me. Brian, why would you do this to her? Brian, she's your daughter-in-law. She's my wife. Brian, what kind of person are you? I read every message, and I didn't reply to any of them. Because I didn't have to explain myself anymore. I didn't have to justify myself anymore. I didn't have to be the good one to please anyone anymore. At 6 in the evening, someone pounded on my door. Bang, bang, bang. Mom, open up. It was Brian. I took a deep breath and opened it. My son was a wreck. Red eyes, a ravaged face, disheveled hair. How could you? He shouted before I could say a word. How could you have Ashley arrested? I didn't have her arrested. She committed a crime. A crime? She keyed a car because she thought it was yours? Exactly. She keyed it because she wanted to humiliate me. Because she wanted to hurt me. Those were her own words. She was angry. People say things when they're angry. And people face consequences when they do illegal things, Brian. It was a car. It can be fixed. It's not my car. It's Colonel Frank Miller's car. And he has every right to press charges. You planned it. This was all a trap. Yes, I planned it. I admitted without shame. Because your wife has been plotting for months how to steal my house, how to declare me senile, how to put me in a home. And I defended myself. That's a lie. Really? I took out my phone. Do you want to hear the recordings? His face went pale. What? What recordings? The recordings from your living room, from my conversations with Ashley, from your conversations with Ashley. I found the file. For example, this one from September 18th. Want to hear it? Mom, no. I pressed play. Ashley's voice came out clearly from the speaker. It's your inheritance, honey. We're just claiming it a little early. Your mom is senile, Brian. We're just speeding up the process. I watched my son fall apart, watched reality hit him like a train. I didn't want to. You didn't want to what, Brian? You didn't want to rob me? You didn't want to put me in a home? You didn't want to take my house? It wasn't like that. Ashley said it was for your own good, that you needed help, that we were helping you. And you believed her? Over your own mother who raised you, who fed you, who paid for your education? You believed her instead of me? She's my wife. And I'm your mother. The silence was deafening. Brian, I said more softly, I have all the proof. The recordings, the documents from the forgery attempt, the reports of her debts, everything. And not just Ashley's, yours too. Mine? You knew about the debts. You took Ashley to the lawyer's office to try and get copies of my deed. You were in the conversations where they planned to have me declared incompetent. Mom, you just wanted the money, the house, the inheritance. But not when I died naturally, no. You wanted it now. Brian collapsed onto the sofa, sobbing. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know how we got to this point. I do. Ashley manipulated you. She filled your head with poison and you let her. I have debts, Mom. A lot of debts. The bank is pressuring us. We could lose the apartment. And you thought my house was the easy solution? I just wanted things to get better. Well, you made them worse, honey. Much worse. He wiped his face with his hands. What's going to happen now? Now Ashley is facing criminal charges, damage to private property. If Mr. Miller wants to press it, she could face up to 2 years in prison. Mom, please, talk to him. Tell him to drop the charges. Ashley can't go to jail. Why would I do that? Why? Because we're family. Ashley stopped being my family the day she called me a burdensome old woman who should be dead. Brian stared at me with wide eyes. She said that? She said it. On the phone 3 hours ago. It's also recorded. My son covered his face. Oh my God. Brian, I have a question for you, and I need you to be honest. What? Do you really believe I'm losing my mind? You, who have known me for 30 years? Or were you just following Ashley's script? A very long pause. I don't know. At first I thought it was real, but then I started to doubt. But Ashley was so sure, and I wanted to believe her. Why? Because if it was true, then we weren't the bad guys. We were the good guys helping a sick mother. But it wasn't true. No, it wasn't true. He wept. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. Can you forgive me? That question shattered me. Because I wanted to say yes, I wanted to hug him and tell him everything would be okay. But I couldn't. Not yet. Brian, forgiveness isn't instant. It's something that's earned. With actions, not words. End quote. What do you need me to do? First, divorce Ashley. Mom, it's non-negotiable. She tried to steal from me, tried to forge my signature, wished me dead. And you expect me to maintain a relationship with her? But I love her. You love a lie. You love the mask she used to trap you. But the real Ashley is the one you've just met. I can't just leave her. She's arrested. She's scared. And she should be. Actions have consequences. Mom, please. Second, I continued. Therapy. You need therapy. To understand how you let yourself be manipulated, to work on your codependency issues, to heal. And you? Us? Our relationship? That depends on you. On whether you're really willing to do the work, to face the truth, to choose your mother. Over my wife, that's not fair. Life isn't fair, honey. But it is just when our turn comes. And now it's your turn. Brian stood up, shaky. I need to go see Ashley. I need to talk to her. Go ahead. But when you walk out that door, think carefully about what you want. Because you can't have both of us. You have to choose. Why are you doing this to me? Because I love you. And because you need to learn that manipulating your mother, trying to steal from her, and wishing her dead is not love. It's abuse. And I will not tolerate abuse anymore. My son left without another word, and I was alone. But this time, the loneliness didn't hurt, because it was a chosen loneliness. A loneliness with dignity. 3 days after Ashley's arrest, my phone rang. It was Megan. Aunt Carol, you need to come to my office. Now. What happened? Ashley hired a lawyer. She wants to negotiate. I arrived at Megan's office an hour later. In the conference room were Megan, my niece and lawyer, Frank Miller, the colonel, a 50-something lawyer, in an expensive suit named Mr. Peterson, and Ashley. My daughter-in-law looked terrible. No makeup, dirty hair, deep dark circles under her eyes. She had spent 2 nights in a holding cell before Brian posted the $5,000 bail. When she saw me walk in, her eyes filled with tears. Mama Carol, Mrs. Harris. I corrected her. Mr. Peterson took the floor. Mrs. Harris, Mr. Miller, thank you for coming. We're here to reach an agreement that benefits all parties. What kind of agreement? Frank asked in a steel voice. My client acknowledges she made a serious mistake. An impulsive error born of emotional stress and family conflict. She is willing to pay for the complete repair of the vehicle. $5,500, Frank said. That's what 3 shops quoted me. Ashley turned pale. Clearly, she did not have $5,500. Furthermore, the lawyer continued, my client is willing to apologize publicly and sign an agreement in which she commits to not approaching Mrs. Harris anymore. Is that all? Megan asked sarcastically. We are asking that Mr. Miller drop the criminal charges. In exchange, my client pays for the damages and both parties move on with their lives. No, I said simply. Everyone looked at me. Excuse me? Said the lawyer. I said no. I don't accept any deal. Mrs. Harris, the lawyer smiled condescendingly, understand that if this goes to trial, it could take years. It's expensive, exhausting. I don't care. Mama Carol, Ashley spoke for the first time, her voice broken. Please, I know I was wrong. I know I was horrible to you, but please, don't ruin my life over this. Ruin your life? Ashley, you tried to ruin mine. I was desperate. We have debts. We're drowning. I didn't know what to do. And you decided to rob me. I wasn't going to rob you. We just wanted you to see reason, to understand that we needed help. Help? Ashley, you tried to forge my signature. You tried to have me declared senile. You organized a whole plan with a corrupt doctor to take away my legal rights. And you call that help? I just wanted what was best for everyone. Lies, you wanted what was best for you. The lawyer intervened. Mrs. Harris, I understand your anger, but consider this. If you drop the charges, my client can avoid a criminal record. She can keep her job. She can have a normal life. And me? When was I offered a normal life? When I was being humiliated in my own house? When you were planning to put me in a home? When you were wishing me dead? Those are serious accusations, the lawyer said. With recordings to back them up, Megan replied. In fact, we have the transcripts right here. She pulled out a thick folder. Conversations where Miss Harris explicitly plans how to have my aunt declared incompetent, how to forge documents, how to manipulate medical evaluations. The lawyer opened the folder. He read. His face turned serious. This changes things. Indeed it does, Megan said. Because now we're not just talking about property damage. We're talking about attempted fraud, forgery of documents, conspiracy to commit a crime. Each of those charges carries a sentence of 2 to 6 years in prison. Ashley began to sob. Please, Mama Carol, please, don't do this to me. I'm not doing anything to you, Ashley. You did this to yourself. You'll have to live with the guilt, she suddenly screamed, of knowing you sent your son's wife to prison, that you destroyed his marriage, that you ruined her life. No, I said with mortal calm. You ruined his life. You manipulated him. You used him. You turned him against his own mother. I just defended myself. Ladies, Frank interrupted, I understand the emotions here, but let's be practical. Mrs. Harris, what do you want? Everyone looked at me. I took a deep breath. I want justice. Justice can take many forms, the colonel said. Then these are my conditions. Non-negotiable. I pulled out my own list, the one Megan and I had prepared. 1. Ashley pays $5,500 to Mr. Miller for the car repairs. In cash. This week. I don't have it. Shut up, I snarled at her. For the first time in my life, I snarled at someone, and it felt good. 2. Ashley signs a full confession of everything she did. Attempted fraud, forgery, conspiracy, all documented and notarized. That's self-incrimination, the lawyer protested. It's the truth, and it's my condition. 3. Ashley divorces Brian, immediately. Without asking for alimony, without asking for anything, she leaves with nothing. No, Ashley screamed. I love Brian. You love him? Or do you love the inheritance you thought he would have? She didn't answer. 4. Ashley signs a permanent restraining order. She does not come near me. She does not come near my house. She does not contact me for the rest of my life. And 5. I finished. If Ashley complies with all of this, Mr. Miller will drop the criminal charges and I will not press the additional charges of fraud and forgery. Absolute silence in the room. It's too much, Ashley whispered. It's generous, I replied, because the alternative is that you face all the charges. Property damage, fraud, forgery. We're talking 6 to 8 years in prison. And believe me, I have all the necessary proof to beat you in court." Mr. Peterson looked at his client. "Ashley, we need to speak privately." They left the room. 15 minutes later, they returned. Ashley's eyes were red, but there was a defeated acceptance on her face. "I accept," she said in a broken voice. "All the conditions? All of them? Including the divorce?" "Yes." "Good. Megan, prepare the documents." "They're already prepared, Aunt Carol. My niece was efficient." For the next hour, Ashley signed document after document, the full confession of her actions, the payment agreement to Frank Miller, the express divorce petition, the restraining order. With each signature, I watched her crumble a little more, and I felt no pity. I felt justice. When she finished, Mr. Peterson stood up. "Mrs. Harris, I hope you're satisfied." "I'll be satisfied when I receive confirmation of my son's divorce." Ashley looked at me with eyes full of hatred. "You won. Happy? This isn't about winning, Ashley. It's about protecting what's mine and teaching you that you can't manipulate, lie, and steal without consequences. You ruined my marriage. You ruined your marriage when you chose greed over love. Brian will never forgive you. Maybe, but I'd rather my son hate me for defending myself than love me for letting myself be humiliated." Ashley left the office, followed by her lawyer, and I sat there, trembling. Frank put a hand on my shoulder. "Mrs. Harris, you did the right thing. Then why do I feel so empty?" "Because justice doesn't always feel good, but it's necessary." Megan hugged me. "Aunt Carol, I'm proud of you." "Really?" "Really. Not many women of your generation have the courage to stand up for themselves like that." I smiled sadly. I had no choice. It was either defend myself or let myself be destroyed. You chose to defend yourself. And that, Aunt Carol, is power. That night, at my house, my phone rang. "Brian." I hesitated before answering. "Hello?" "Mom." His voice sounded destroyed. "Ashley told me. About the agreement. About the divorce." "I'm sorry, honey." "You're sorry? Really?" "I'm sorry you have to go through this, but I don't regret protecting myself. You're forcing me to divorce the woman I love." "I'm not forcing you to do anything, Brian." Ashley signed because she knew the alternative was prison. She chose. You put her in that position. She put herself in that position when she tried to steal from me. It's not all black and white, Mom. You're right. But some things are clear. Trying to forge your mother's signature to steal her house is wrong. Wishing your mother-in-law dead is wrong. Manipulating your husband against his mother is wrong. Silence. "Brian, I have a question." "What is it?" "If I had been weak, if I hadn't defended myself, if I had let Ashley go ahead with her plan, where would I be right now?" Long pause. "I don't know." "I do. I'd be in a home, declared senile, with no rights to my property, in a Medicaid-funded facility, while you two sold my house and spent my money." "Mom, is that the end you wanted for me?" "No, I never wanted that. But you allowed it. You participated. You took Ashley to lawyers. You were in the meetings with Dr. Evans. You knew what they were doing, and you let it happen. I thought it was for your own good." "No, honey. You thought it was for your own good, for your debts, for your future, for your comfort." I heard him crying on the other end of the line. "I don't know who I am without her." "Then this is your chance to find out, to find yourself." The Brian I raised, not the one Ashley created. "Is there still a place for me in your life?" That question broke my heart. "There's always a place for you, Brian. You're my son, but that place now has boundaries. It has respect. It has dignity. You can't just walk in and out whenever you want. You can't manipulate me or use me anymore. If you want to be in my life, it has to be on my terms." "And what are your terms?" "Honesty, respect, therapy, time, and above all, choosing me. Not all the time, but when it matters, choosing me. I don't know if I can. Then you have a decision to make." "Mom, I love you. I love you too, Brian. Always. But I'm not going to destroy myself to love you anymore." And I hung up. I cried that night. I cried for my son. I cried for the destroyed marriage. I cried for the broken family. But I also cried with relief. Because finally, I was free. 2 months later, I am sitting in my garden, drinking coffee from my favorite mug, the one my husband gave me 20 years ago. The November sun is perfect, not too hot, not too cold. Frank Miller got his $5,500. His car looks brand new, and he has become an unexpected friend. He now comes for coffee on Thursdays. Ashley and Brian are officially divorced. The process took 6 weeks. Express, as we agreed. Ashley moved back in with her parents. She lost her job at the marketing agency when they found out about the arrest. She now works in a call center, earning $2,000 a month. Her debts are still there, eating her alive. Last I heard, she was in court-ordered therapy. Part of the deal for Frank to drop the charges. And Brian? My son is living alone in his apartment. He sold a lot of things to cover the debts. He's in therapy, too. He calls me once a week. Short, awkward conversations at first. But honest. 3 weeks ago, he came to the house. For the first time in months. He knocked on the door. He didn't use his key. "Mom, can I come in?" "Of course, honey." He sat in the living room, uncomfortable. "You look good," he said. "Thanks. You look tired." "I am. Working, paying off debts, therapy. It's exhausting, but necessary." "Yes, Mom. I came to tell you something." "I'm listening." "You were right. About everything. About Ashley. About me. About everything." I felt a lump in my throat. My son. No, let me finish. I was an idiot. A manipulated idiot, yes, but an idiot nonetheless. I let someone convince me that attacking my own mother was okay, that stealing from you was justified, that humiliating you was for your own good. He wiped away tears. And the worst part is, a part of me knew it. I knew it was wrong. But it was easier to believe Ashley than to face the truth. That we were broke, desperate, and willing to do anything for money. Brian? When I was married to her, I was a different person, a person I don't like, a person who could look his own mother in the eye and tell her she was crazy when he knew she wasn't. But you're in therapy now. You're working on yourself. Yes, and it's the hardest work I've ever done. Because it means accepting that I was the villain too. Not just Ashley. Me. I stood up and sat next to him. "Honey, we all make mistakes." "This wasn't a mistake, Mom. It was a series of horrible decisions. And you suffered because of them. But I survived. Because you're strong. Stronger than me." "No, honey. I'm strong because I had to be. And you are too. That's why you're here. That's why you're doing the work. Can you forgive me someday?" "I'm already forgiving you. Little by little. Every time you come over. Every time you're honest. Every time you choose the truth over comfort. Can we rebuild our relationship?" "Yes. But it will be different. It won't go back to the way it was. I know. It will have boundaries. It will have respect. And if you ever again allow someone to treat me the way Ashley treated me, it's over. Forever." "Understood." I hugged him, and he cried in my arms like he did when he was a little boy. Last week, Sharon came to visit me. "Carol, the whole neighborhood is talking about you." "Really? What are they saying?" "That you're a warrior. That you stood up to your manipulative daughter-in-law and won. You have half the ladies in the neighborhood asking me how you did it." I laughed. "There's no magic formula, Sharon. Just not letting myself be walked all over." "Well, a lot of us need to learn that. Deborah, from the corner, her daughter-in-law treats her horribly too, and she just takes it. Tell Deborah to come over for coffee. I'll tell her my story." And so it began. One by one, women from the neighborhood came to my house. Women with manipulative daughters-in-law, women with sons who ignored them, women who felt they were worthless. And I told them my story. Not to brag, but to empower them. Because if I, at 67 years old, could defend myself, they could too. A week ago, Linda called me. "Carol, I have news. Good or bad? Depends. Remember how Ashley tried to forge your signature?" How could I forget? Well, it turns out it wasn't the first time. We investigated further. She tried the same thing with her best friend's parents and with an uncle who had money. Seriously? It's a pattern. Ashley looks for older people with property. She gains their trust. And then she tries to take their assets. She's almost a professional. My God. The good news is, with your case and the other complaints, the district attorney's office is building a larger case. She could face serious charges, even if you dropped yours. And what does that mean? It means that even though you forgave her in a way, the justice system hasn't. There are other victims, and this time she's not going to get away with it. I fell silent, processing. Carol? Are you okay? Yes. It just gives me chills to think she was actually a professional con artist and my son was married to her. That's why you should be proud. You didn't just protect yourself. You protected Brian too, even if he doesn't see it that way yet. Thank you, Linda, for everything. That's what good friends are for. Yesterday was a special day, Brian called. Mom, can I come visit tomorrow? There's something I want to show you. Of course, honey. He arrived at 11 in the morning with a folder in his hands. What's that? My finances, organized, with a payment plan. I opened the folder. There were spreadsheets, projections, budgets. I'm going to pay off all my debts in 18 months. No more. I'm going to live on the bare minimum. No luxuries. No excess. Just work and pay. Brian, and when I'm done, I want to start over. For real. No debts. No weight on my shoulders. And Mom, I want to ask for your forgiveness. Not with words, but with actions. You're already asking for forgiveness with this. It's not enough, so I want to do something else. He pulled out another document. This is a notarized waiver of any right to your property while you are alive. I looked at him, surprised. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do, because this is how I prove to myself that my love for you has nothing to do with your house or your money, that I love you because you're my mother. Period. Tears streamed down my face. My son, the house is yours. It has always been yours. And if one day you decide to leave me something, it will be your decision. But I'm not going to wait for it. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to manipulate you for it. Never again. I hugged him tightly. I am so proud of you. Really? Really. This is courage. This is growth. I have a very good therapist. He smiled shyly. Well, then keep going. We laughed. For the first time in months, we laughed together. Mom, do you think one day we could go back to having dinner together on Sundays like before? Yes, but under new rules. Which are honesty, respect, and no toxic people at my table. If you ever have a partner again, that person has to earn their place here. It's not automatic. Understood. And Mom, I'm going to be alone for a while. A long while. I need to get to know myself before I can be with someone else. That's the wisest decision you've made in years. Today is Sunday. It's 2 in the afternoon. Brian is coming for dinner at 5. I'm making his favorite meal. Stuffed peppers, Spanish rice, and refried beans. Frank is coming too. And Sharon. And Megan with her husband. A family dinner. But this time, on my terms. With people who respect me. With people who value me. With people who chose to be here. As I cook, I think about everything that happened. The pain. The betrayal. The humiliation. But I also think about the strength I discovered. About the woman I became. Not the submissive mother-in-law, not the mother who forgives everything, but Carol Harris, retired teacher, owner of her home, master of her life. And nobody will ever take that from me again. Brian kept his promise. He's been paying his debts religiously for 6 months. He's already paid off $31,000. He has $31,000 more to go, but he's on the right track. He got a better job. Sales manager at a tech company. He earns $6,000 a month. He lives in a smaller apartment, $1,200 a month for rent. He doesn't have a car. He uses public transport. But he's happy. Happier than I've seen him in years. We have dinner together every Sunday. Sometimes he brings dessert. Sometimes he helps in the kitchen. And we talk. Really talk. Like we hadn't since Ashley came into his life. Ashley is now facing charges from the district attorney. 3 more victims came forward. The pattern was always the same: gaining the trust of elderly people, trying to forge documents, stealing property. Her trial is in 2 months. Her lawyer says she'll likely face 4 to 6 years in prison. Brian has had no contact with her since the divorce. Ashley tried calling him several times, but he changed his number. I have nothing to say to her, he told me, and I don't want to hear her excuses. I am fine. No, I am better than fine. I am alive. My house is still mine. My savings are safe. My dignity is intact. I started a support group for older women. We meet on Wednesdays at the neighborhood parish. We talk about boundaries, respect, and how to defend ourselves from manipulative family members. We have 18 members now, 18 women who are learning that love does not mean enduring abuse, that being a good mother does not mean being weak, that we have the right to protect what is ours. Last week, a young woman came to my door, timid little knocks. I opened it. She was a girl of about 25, pretty, well-dressed. Mrs. Carol Harris? Yes. How can I help you? My name is Nicole. I'm Ashley Thompson's niece. My stomach tensed. I see. What do you need? I came to thank you. To thank me? Yes. Ashley. She tried to scam my grandmother too. 2 years ago, my grandmother almost lost her house. But we didn't have enough proof. When you reported her and when all the other victims came forward, we were finally able to get justice for my grandmother. I was speechless. My grandmother wanted to come personally, but she's ill, so she asked me to bring you this. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. Dear Carol, we don't know each other, but we are sisters in battle. Ashley tried to steal my house 2 years ago. I did not have your strength. I let myself be intimidated. I signed papers I didn't understand. I almost lost everything. When I learned that you had fought back, that you confronted her, that you gathered proof, I cried with joy, because it meant she would finally face justice. Thank you for being brave when I couldn't be. Thank you for protecting yourself and, without knowing it, protecting me too. You are my hero. With admiration and gratitude, Grace Thompson, 73 years old. I cried reading that letter because I realized something important. My battle wasn't just for me. It was for all of us. All the older women society wants to make invisible. All the mothers their own children try to manipulate. All the grandmothers who deserve respect, not abuse. Last night, before going to sleep, I stood in front of the mirror in my bedroom. I saw the woman looking back at me. Gray hair, wrinkles on her forehead, hands with age spots. But I also saw something else. Strength in those eyes. Dignity in that posture. Power in that gaze. You did it, Carol, I told myself. You did it. And I smiled. Because it's true, I didn't just survive. I triumphed. If you are listening to this story and you identify with it, if you have a daughter-in-law, a son-in-law, a son, or any family member who is manipulating you, if you feel pressured to give up your house, your money, your autonomy, if someone makes you feel like you are a burden, an obstacle, a nuisance, listen to me carefully. You are not the problem. You are not crazy. You are not selfish for protecting what is yours. You have a right to your space. You have a right to your assets. You have a right to your dignity. And if anyone tries to take that from you, you have the right to defend yourself, with all your strength, with all the legal tools available, with all the courage you have inside you, because true love does not manipulate. True love does not steal. True love does not humiliate. And you deserve to be loved for real, not for what you have, but for who you are. Today, at 67 years old, sitting in my house, drinking coffee from my favorite mug, surrounded by people who respect me, I can say with certainty, I am Carol Harris, retired teacher, mother, survivor, warrior. And no one, ever again, will make me feel less than that. This was my story, the story of how my daughter-in-law tried to destroy me, and how I destroyed her first, not with malice, but with justice. And if my words can help even one woman to defend herself, then every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of pain was worth it, because now I am free. and you can be too. You just have to have the courage to say, enough. This is mine. I matter. And believe me, when you finally say it, everything changes. The end. Carol Harris closed her journal, put away her pen, and went out to the garden where Brian was waiting for her to plant rose bushes. Mother and son, working together. Not in the house they almost lost, but in the house she saved. And as the afternoon sun bathed the garden in golden light, Carol smiled. Because finally, after so much pain, she had found peace. Not the peace of surrender, but the peace of victory. And that, dear reader, is the best peace of all.